you must look at A. A positive A gives us a positive parabola. A negative A gives us a downwards facing parabola. Next, we would look at the y-intercept when we set x to 0, giving us y is equal to c. Next, you would verify the vertex. X is equal to negative b over 2a. And then you would get that x and plug it back into the equation, giving you y, giving you the ordered pair where the vertex is. Hello, my name is Mark, and welcome to Continuing Education. Today's lesson is going to be on graphing vertical parabolas. Before I start this video, make sure that you like it and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed, because I am building the largest library of free test prep on YouTube to help as many people as possible and to play video games. Okay. Now, for the presentation. Graphing quadratic equations. The graph of a quadratic function is called a parabola. In standard form here, it's y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. I am sure you are very familiar with this formula. A cannot equal 0. If so, the equation would become linear. Try it yourself. If we just put 0 here, we will have y is equal to bx plus c, which we are very familiar with. That is just a line because we know y is equal to mx plus b. From the equation, okay, this equation right here, we can identify how the parabola opens, the y-intercept, the vertex and axis of symmetry, the x-intercepts when they exist. So over here, I have a graph of y equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. We could see here that the vertex is at 2, negative 1. We have x-intercepts at 1, 0 and 3, 0. We have a y-intercept of 0, 3, and then the axis of symmetry at x equaling 2. This was figure A. I don't think you really need to know the axis of symmetry, but just know that the axis of symmetry is the same as the vertex in this case, okay? And I'm talking about like they could fold in on each other. Next slide. Parabolas in electrical work. I put this slide here because I had many people in the comments saying stuff like, we're never going to use this stuff outside the aptitude test. Well, if you have that kind of outlook, that victim mindset, well, you're not going to go anywhere, okay? I'm here to tell you that all the math that you will be learning, that you are learning for the aptitude test, will carry over to the trades, to the electrical work. It won't be one for one, okay? But the calculating equations, switching numbers up, as well as doing stuff under pressure, that's going to carry over, okay? So I'm just letting you know that after the aptitude test,
the math is not leaving.
And this stuff that I have here, I have no idea really what this means. I just did a quick ChatGPT search, and this is what it came up with. You could just Google too as well, and you will find out that this stuff that you are learning, specifically parabolas right now, it will carry over to the real world. So the next slide I have here is other types of graphs. The standard quadratic function y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c creates a vertical parabola. Okay, and what I mean by vertical parabola, it's just like this, and then like this. That is a vertical parabola. And then like you would have something like this, and this is a sideways parabola. This is also a vertical parabola facing downwards. So these are some things, some functions that you might see on the test, okay? And do not be afraid, because I don't think they're going to make you understand what they are or how they work, but I want you to recognize them, okay? So we have y equals square root x. That's going to be function b on the next slide, or figure b on the next slide. Then we have y squared equals x. That is a sideways parabola. Figure c will show that. We have here y squared equals x squared. This one's a trick one, right? A trick equation, because if we square root this, then we get y is equal to, and then this is plus minus, right, x. Because when you square root, you get plus minus. So this would actually be two linear lines intersecting each other. And then we have something here, y is equal to 1 over x. This is a rational function with asymptotes. That is Algebra 2 touching onto calculus. You might see them on the test. However, I would completely ignore them and disregard them as an answer choice. Okay, and here are the functions as graphs. So figure B shows graph of y is equal to square root x, and it's just a line that goes from the center here and then out like this, like so. Graph of y squared equals x is the same as this, except it's mirroring the top, right? The bottom is mirroring the top. And this is what you would call a sideways parabola. Figure D shows, remember, two intersecting lines, because once we square root and get rid of the squared, we'll get y is equal to plus minus x, and this is as such. Now, this is the one with the rational function, and again, I don't believe this is going to be on the test. Please let me know in the comments if you do see something like this, because if you do, then boy, oh boy, I have a lot more content to cover. So let's go ahead and break down y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Starting with a, how a controls the parabola. Using standard form, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, a is the coefficient of the x squared term. The sign of a determines which direction the parabola opens. And this is what I mean. Okay, this right here is a downward facing parabola. Okay, it has an a that is negative. It has an a that's like this, and then negative like this. Okay, remember your inequality signs, guys. This is less than, meaning negative. Okay, then you have something like this, a greater than 0. This is positive. Okay, this is what this means over here. If a is greater than 0, or if a is positive, the parabola opens upward and the vertex is its lowest point. So let's just I'm going to show you that right here on the side. Here is an upwards facing parabola. A is positive, and the vertex over here, the axis of symmetry, is also the vertex in our case here. That is the lowest point of the vertex. This is a negative parabola, and the vertex is right here, and this is the highest point of the parabola. And I do mention it here. If a is negative, the parabola opens downward, and the vertex is its highest point. This is one thing to note. The size of a affects the shape. Larger values make the parabola narrower. So a value of 2x is more narrow than a value of 1/2 x. Larger values make the parabola narrower, while values between 0 and 1 make it wider. So this would make the parabola wider. If a equals 0, the x squared term disappears, so the equation is no longer quadratic. Okay, next, how C locates the y-intercept. we talked about A, now we're talking about C. And C is just the y-intercept, okay? C, remember, just like the linear function, if you made everything here 0, you'll get y is equal to C, and then you will get 0, comma, let's say in this case, we have 0, comma, -4. And then our y-intercept is -4. If I zoom in here during post-production, you see y equals -x squared minus 6x minus 4. Again, I would make all these 0, and then I would get y is equal to -4, right? So then my y-intercept is 0, comma, -4. That's really all I want you to get from this slide. Moving on. Yes, Fatal Frame. Make sure to watch that. But behind the thumbnail of Fatal Frame is something very important. And I will go over that after I read and teach you about the vertex from standard form. Okay, finding the vertex from standard form. Standard form is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. The vertex is the highest or lowest point of a parabola. We went over that already. First, find the vertex's x-coordinate, okay? To find the x-coordinate, we must use this equation here. X is equal to -b over 2a. After you find x, then you must plug in x back into the equation, getting us y, okay? Very important that you do that, okay? This is a two-step process. Write the vertex as an ordered pair, x, comma, y. And I do exaggerate the ordered pair, and that's how I was taught to say the ordered pair. Say the comma, 0, comma, 5, okay? The line x equals -b over 2a is also the parabola's axis of symmetry. If a is positive, the vertex is the minimum, okay? If a is negative, it is the maximum, okay? And what I mean here is, here's a positive, there you go. You have a minimum, and then you have a negative. This is now your maximum. Okay, now let's move the Fatal Frame thumbnail, the creepy girl, and let's go ahead and use this formula that I have here. Y is equal to -x squared minus 6x minus 4. Now, in order to find the vertex, we must plug in -6 and -1 to x equals -b over 2a. So we plug in a and b to the formula. We start with x equals -b over 2a. We get x is equal to -6 over 2 times -1. And then what is negative times a negative? Or let's just put these together. We get +6. 6 divided by, and what's 2 times -1? That is -2. So +6 divided by -2 equals -3. Substitute x equals -3 back into the equation, back into here. And this is what we get. Y is equal to -3 squared minus 6 -3 minus 4. Giving us y is equal to 5. So our vertex now is -3, comma, 5. Do that yourself and see if my work is correct. Now this is standard form, okay? I'm going to show you vertex form now. Vertex form is here. Vertex form is written in y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. Now, I do not know if this is going to be on the test, but I found it very important that you know what this is. Please write it down in your notes. In vertex form, the vertex is hk. This one is actually easier to find the vertex, okay? So h gives the vertex's x-coordinate, and k gives its y-coordinate. So in this case, let's just see if I do have an example here behind the Fatal Frame picture. So let me just read these. The sign inside the parentheses is opposite of h. So when we have x minus 3, that means h is equal to 3. Okay, see this negative? It becomes positive with h. X plus 3 means h negative 3. The axis of symmetry is x equaling h. You'll find out that you'll be using the same formula. H is equal to negative b over 2a. This will give us the axis of symmetry. A still determines the direction and width of the parabola, A, right here. And let me just use a highlighter. Maybe that's going to be better. Unlike standard form, the vertex can be found without using x equals negative b over 2a. Now remember, the vertex and the axis of symmetry are two different things. But again, unlike standard form, the vertex can be found without using x equals negative b over 2a. Now let me move the creepy girl from fatal frame, and let's use the same equation that we used previously. Y is equal to negative x squared minus 6x minus 4. We use h is equal to negative b over 2a, giving us this is going to be negative 3. Okay, I didn't put that, but this is going to equal negative 3 again. Find k. K is equal to, plug k in, okay, equals negative 3 squared minus 6 minus 3 minus 4. K simplified all the way to k is equal to 5. Substitute into vertex form. Okay, a is equal to negative 1, h is equal to negative 3, and k to 5. And there you have it, folks. That is how you read and get from standard form to vertex form. Again, I do not know if this is going to be on the IBEW, the Aptitude test. However, it is very important to know this, especially when dealing with parabolas. Okay, let's move on to the review questions. The lesson is done. This concludes the lesson. You are an expert at parabolas. All you need to know about the parabola is the direction, which is A, if it's positive or if it's negative. You need to know the Y-intercept, okay? Set all the x's to 0. That will get you y is equal to c. Getting you the ordered pair of 0, whatever c is, that will get you the Y-intercept. And to find the vertex using standard form and the vertex form. For standard form, it's x equals negative b over 2a. And then after that, you get x and plug it back into the equation, giving you y. With vertex form, it's given to you in the equation. All you need to do is reverse the sign in the parentheses to get you x, and then k remains the same. Okay? Once you figure those three things out,
everything will be easy.
All right, let's go ahead with question number 1. Fill in the blank. The sign of A determines which blank the parabola opens. The sign of A determines which blank the parabola opens. And the answer here, if you done it correctly, is direction, folks. Direction. The sign of A determines which direction the parabola opens. If it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. Okay? Perfect. In standard form, the y-intercept is 0, I just said this. If you answered C, then you are correct. C. Okay? In standard form, the y-intercept is 0, c. Set everything in the equation to 0, all the x's to 0, giving you c. Now, if you did the reverse, right? If you made y to 0, what do you get from there? That will get you the x-intercepts, if they exist. Okay? Because sometimes they won't. Sometimes you will get a graph that looks like this, and it never touches the x-intercept. It may not even touch the y-intercept. Actually, it will. If it has a bend to it, it will eventually touch the y-intercept. Okay, to find the vertex, use x is equal to, this one's important. You need to remember this. This is super duper priority. Highlight this in your notes, okay? To find the vertex, use x equals negative b over 2a. Then substitute x back into the equation to find y, giving us the ordered pair of x comma y. All right, perfect. Question number 1 complete. Question number 2. For each parabola, identify the key features of each parabola. Okay, that should be just written, identify the key features. Okay. A, does it open upward or downward? Is A positive or negative? What is the y-intercept? And where's the vertex? Let's look at this graph right here. Does it open upward or downward? Well, it opens upward. So A is positive. Okay. What is the y-intercept? Well, if we look over here, if we do our best to zoom in, and I do have a Miro board open, and let's go look at this one, right? What is the y-intercept? Well, if we look here, it looks like the y-intercept is right here at 0, 3. 0, 3. Okay? Where's the vertex? Okay, the vertex is right here. And in order to get the vertex, we must use the equation x is equal to negative b over 2a. But we don't have that. We could just eyeball it and say the vertex is at, and let me just erase this so this gets out of the way. And then we could just say that it's negative 1, comma, negative 2. Okay. That's all I want you to know. And then also the axis of symmetry is right here at x equals negative 2. X is equal to negative 2. I do not think you need to know this for the test. So let's just go with this one now. So we have here a, we have here a, what is this? This is a downwards facing parabola. So A is negative. We see here that the axis, or not the axis, but the y-intercept is at 0, 3. And then we see here that the axis of symmetry is at right here, I believe. And that is x is equal to positive 2. And then the vertex is at right here, and that looks like 2, 4. Okay? Perfect. Again, we have this right here, and we have a downward facing parabola, making a negative. We see the y-intercept at 0, negative 3. And then I do see that the vertex is over here, and it's at negative 1, 2. At this part, for question 2, I didn't want to have these ordered pairs. I just want you to know that this is opening upwards. A is positive. A is negative. A is negative. The y-intercepts are here. This is where to look at. And then also your vertex is right here, and that's where to look at. You may encounter this on the test where they will ask you this question, and then you would just have to eyeball where the vertex is. And they would give you a point that makes sense, okay? They wouldn't give you a point that's going to be like over here somewhere in the middle between 4.5 and or between 4 and 5 and then put it at like 4.3. They wouldn't do that to you guys, okay? So that's all I wanted you to know from that question is these key features on a parabola or when looking at a graph with a parabola. So back to the presentation, let's go to questions 3 to 5 and use A to determine the direction, use C to locate the y-intercept, and use x is equal to negative b over 2a to determine or to begin finding the vertex. Okay, and why I said begin, because you must plug in x back into the equation to get you the ordered pair of the vertex. Okay, question number 3. Which graph represents the quadratic equation below? So we have y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. The first thing that I look at is A. I see here that it's x squared, and that is 1, and that is a positive parabola. So I see here that I have a positive parabola for A, positive parabola for B, and then I have a negative parabola. So I'm just going to get rid of this for C. And then D, I also have a positive parabola. That leaves me with 3 answer choices. The next thing I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to be looking at the y-intercept right here, C. And the y-intercept, if I make everything 0, I get y is equal to 3, giving me an ordered pair of 0, 3. Now let's go look at each graph, okay? And it's actually going to be much better when I go to the Miro board, and then I go over here. And we've already established that the y-intercept is at 0, 3, right? And let's go ahead and look at our answer choices here. And we did get rid of C. Let's look at our answer choices. And we see here that the y-intercept is at 0, 3. Okay, we could keep this one. It's at 0, 3. We could keep this one. And this one's at 0, 7. Okay, and let me just zoom in better. This is 0, 7. So we can get rid of this, leaving us with A and B. Now, what is the last step I could do to confirm our answer choice? And that is using finding the vertex. Okay, and in order to find the vertex again, we use x is equal to negative b over 2a. And let's go ahead and plug in our b and our a. And b is equal to negative 4, and then a is equal to 1, right? So we have x is equal to negative, and then this is negative 4 over 2, 1, and then we get x is equal to 4 over 2 equaling 2. So then I have my x, which is 2. I plug it back in, and then I'm going to plug it back in. So I'm going to just bear with me. This is the first time I'm using a Miro board for my presentation. So the equation is y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 3. And I am going to plug in x, which is equal to 2. So y is equal to 2 squared minus 4, 2 plus 3, giving me y is equal to 4 minus 8 plus 3, giving me y is equal to this 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 3 is going to be negative 1. So now I have an ordered pair of 2, negative 1. And let's go ahead and look at our answer choices. So I have right here, what is this? This is 2 right here, and then negative 1. This matches. B is the correct answer, but for the sake of the video, let's go ahead and look at answer choice A. So I have here negative 2, right? Negative 2, -1 as the vertex, but we want 2, +2, comma, -1. And that confirms that B is the correct answer. So folks, B is the correct answer. Let's move on to question number 4. Question number 4 is over here. And let me just go to my slides actually before we move on to question number 3 to see if I missed anything. So B is the correct answer. And the last thing that we can do to verify our graph, right, to verify this is to find the x-intercepts. So you could find the x-intercepts by factoring, right? This is bonus stuff, okay? This is bonus stuff. However, this is stuff that you should know and where it's being used, right? Y equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Remember that thing where I taught you how to factor, which is what two numbers multiplied together equals 3, and those same two values combined together equal B. Remember that? Well, we could use that here to find the x-intercepts. Well, what two values combined together equals 3? And that is -1 times -3 equals +3. When combined together, we get -1 and then minus 3 equals -4, confirming that these are the two numbers. And then we'll write it as such because our does that equal? Hold on. I am tripping. Okay. So these are actually, yes, these are my x-intercepts. My x-intercepts are x equals, and then this is 1, and then x is equal to 3, okay? Because if we look here on our graph, we have the x, and let me just go back to my Miro board, and then we have our x right here. These are the 2 points where the parabola crosses the x-axis, right here and right here, okay? Giving me x equals 1 and x equals 3. And remember, it's reversed when we write it, when we factor, right? When we factor, we got -1 and -3. And then that actually looks like this, x minus 1 and then x minus 3. We use the zero product rule, and then I hate how, okay, I have to zoom out, then zoom in, okay. And then we get x minus 1 equals 0, giving me +1, giving me x equals negative, or +1, +1. And that's where I get the 1. Then we do that for the x minus 3, and we'll get +3. And that's how you get the x-intercepts, if they're there. Okay, that's to further confirm. And again, guys, you don't have to do that. That's just where that comes from, right? That's where using the quadratic formula comes from, and that's where factoring comes from. Because you can use the quadratic formula. You can use the quadratic formula, and we all know that, right? The -b plus minus all square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, we could use this and get values from here. We can get a, b, and c here, plug that in here, and then we will get this right here, x equaling 1 and x equaling 3. Okay? Again, that's just bonus. Question number 4, folks. Let's go to question number 4. Which graph represents the equation below after it is simplified? All right, you thought I was gonna just hand you the answers, hand you some easy questions. Yeah, right. Yeah, the freak right. So let's go ahead and simplify this, folks. So the first thing that I would do, right? The first thing that I would do is clear out the fractions. And you could clear out the fractions by finding an LCD, right? Or you could just cross multiply, okay? we could just cross multiply. So let's go ahead and do that. Let us go on the Miro board. And again, bear with me as I'm learning this Miro board, okay? Because there we go. Like I have more control when I do that. So let me start writing. So we have y3 or y cubed plus 3y over 3 equals 2y cubed minus 3 and then x squared minus 4x minus 8 and then over 6. Now I said I am going to cross multiply for this, okay? And in order to do that, I'm going to get 6y cubed, and no, I'm not going to do it like that. What I'm going to do is I am going to do it step by step. So step by step, I'm going to show this 6, and then in parentheses, y3 plus 3y is equal to, just want to give myself some room, and then I have 3, and then I'm going to bracket this 2y cubed minus, and then this is going to be 3, and then x squared minus 4x minus 8, and then parentheses and bracket. And before I distribute this 3, I am actually going to work out whatever's happening over here. So I'm going to distribute here, giving me 6y cubed plus 18y equaling, and I'm not going to do anything with this 3 yet because I want to distribute the 3 over here. Okay, I did this so you get those fundamentals down on the other algebraic equations and questions that you will encounter. And that's not a 4, that is a negative 3x, or negative 3 times negative 4, that's a plus 12x, and then negative 3 times a negative 8, that is plus 24. Now I have all that. I'm going to put this in brackets. Now I could distribute that 3. So then I get 6y cubed plus 18y is equal to 6y cubed minus 9x squared plus 36x. And this is, what is 24 times 3? That is 72, right? 24 times 3, 2, 1, 72. Yes, plus 72. And then what I'm going to do next is I am just going to combine like terms. I'm actually going to get this side to 0, okay? And then I'm going to minus 6y cubed minus 6y cubed, and well, look what happens there. We can get rid of that, okay? We could get rid of that. Whoop-de-doo, that is great. The next thing I'm going to do is just rewrite 18y is equal to negative 9x cubed plus 36x plus 72. Well, if we see here, if we look at here, right? Each of these are multiples of 9. I don't know if that's the correct term, but if we divide by 18, divide by 18, divide by 18, and divide by 18, we get y is equal to, this is negative 1/2 x squared, and then this is plus, this is 2x, and this is plus 72 divided by 18 is 4. Okay, giving me y is equal to negative 1/2 x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay, so 72 divided by 18 is 4, and then this is my equation right here. Y is equal to negative 1/2 x squared plus 2x plus 4. Now let's go back to our graph. Okay, let's go back to our graph. And then I said y is equal to, okay, I think I could rewrite it right here. Y is equal to negative 1/2 x, I think plus 2x plus 4, right? Oh my gosh. I like Miro boards, but I don't like Miro boards. Because look at that. I just want to go. Okay. Okay. So this is my equation here. Now let's go look at the answer choices. We have here on our answer choices, we have this right here. The first thing that I'm looking at is this right here. And I don't like that because this is not a parabola. And this, our equation, is definitely 100% a parabola. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to get rid of that. D we could get rid of. Okay? We have a negative in front of the A, which tells us what? A negative in front of the A tells us we have a downwards facing parabola. So we can get rid of A because A is an upwards facing one. Now let's go look at the y-intercept. And we see here that the y-intercept is at 0, 4. Okay, and we're looking for one that has a 4. And they both have a 4. Okay, we could rule the y-intercept out, and we must continue to finding the vertex. Now the vertex is here in quadrant 2, and the vertex is in quadrant 1 over here. So that gives me full confidence that I can use x is equal to negative b over 2a. And let's go ahead and do that. X is equal to negative 2 over 2, and then this is negative 1/2, giving me x is equal to, man, I'll write it right here. X is equal to negative 2 over what is 2 times negative 1, that is negative 2 divided by 2. That's going to give me negative 1 equaling x equals 2. And I just want to rewrite that better. And that's going to give me my x coordinate. And now I must put this 2 back into the equation. So I'm going to put it back into this equation. Thankfully, not this equation. So I'm just going to write on top of D, okay, because I do not want to move around right now. I'm going to put it on top of D. And then, okay, so I have y is equal to negative 1/2. And then I said it was 2. And then plus 2 plus 4. Okay. And let me just rewrite that 4 better for us. 4. And that's going to give me y is equal to, and this is negative 2 over 2 plus 4 plus 4. And this is going to give me y is equal to negative 1 plus 4 plus 4. And that equals 7 because 4 plus 4 is 8 minus 1 equals 7. So now our ordered pair is 2, 7, and that's going to be in quadrant 1, both positive numbers. Okay, this is very important for you too, because you must understand that quadrant 1 has the ordered pairs plus and plus, right? Quadrant 2 has negative and a plus. Quadrant 3 is negative and negative, and quadrant 4 is positive and then negative. Okay, you must know that. All right, these quadrants. Okay, so 2, 7 is my vertex. Therefore, C is the correct answer. If we zoom in here to, it looks like I have it. Oh, yeah, it looks like I have it at 6. Is this one at 6? Maybe I did the equation wrong. 2 plus 2, 4. Huh. Well, folks, the answer is C. And maybe I do need to fix something in there, but I don't want to. Okay? All of them are wrong. I think I just did my math wrong. All right? I think I just did my math wrong. However, you get the gist of it, okay? You need to identify if the parabola opens up or down. You must find the y-intercept, and then you use the formula negative b over 2a to first find the vertex, the first thing that you would do to find the vertex, because you are finding x when you use negative b over 2a. Plug in x back into the equation, and that will give you your y and your ordered pair used to look and examine the graphs. Okay, I do see where I did my math wrong. Okay, so we have established from question number 4, on question number 4, from x equals negative b over 2a, that x is equal to 2. Okay, this is what I forgot to do. And you might have made this mistake too, or, I make mistakes, okay? I am not perfect. So I have y is equal to negative 1/2 x squared, okay, plus 2x plus 4, okay? So then I get this x equals 2, and I'm going to plug it in, okay? Giving me y is equal to negative 1/2, and then 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 4. Further giving me y is equal to, and I'm just going to do this all step by step. This is 4 now, okay? Plus 4 plus 4. And then y is equal to, what is negative 1? And I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to do it by hand, okay? That's what this is right here. Plus, and then this is 8. And this equals, what's negative 4 divided by 2? That's negative 2, and then plus 8, giving me positive 6, giving me the ordered pair 2, 6. And if we go to our graph again, that confirms C, 2, 6, 2, 6, okay? And then that's why this is wrong, because negative 2 is the x coordinate, and 6 is the y coordinate. We could have just ruled out this because we got the x. However, there will be a case on the IBEW on the last step where it's going to be like, oh, that's the correct answer because of the last step of what I had to do. So there you have it, folks. Just wanted to correct my mistake. Let's go back to the presentation. Question number 5, which equation represents the graph below? Okay, so we have this here, and we just use the same steps. Number 1, we find that this is a positive parabola, right? So we look at our answer choices, and A is wrong because it has a negative A that would go down. So let's go look at the Y-intercept here, and it looks like it's at, it's at 0, 3. And it's not a negative 3, so we can get rid of C. That leaves us with 2 answer choices. Y is equal to 5x squared minus 10x plus 3, and then 5x squared plus 10x plus 3. So now, again, we must use, so you would have to use negative b over 2a. So let's go ahead and use that. X is equal to negative b over 2a. Let's use the first equation here. So we have x is equal to, and then we have negative 10, and remember this is a negative 10, and then 2, and then 5. That's going to give me x is equal to 10 over 10, x is equal to 1. And then we look here that there is no 1 here. The vertex is definitely not 1. 1 is right here, right? So then we could rule out B. And for the sake of the video, let's see why D is correct. Again, I will use x equals negative b over 2a. And then I get x is equal to negative, and then just negative 10, and then 2, 5. And then I get x is equal to negative 10 divided by 10, giving me x is equal to negative 1. And definitely our x coordinate here is at negative 1. Let's go ahead and take it a step further to further confirm this by plugging in negative 1 to the equation y is equal to 5x squared plus 10x plus 3. We get y is equal to 5 and then negative 1 plus 10, and again negative 1 plus 3. Further simplifying, we get negative 5 minus 10 plus 3, and then I get x is, oh, this is squared. That's why. My gosh, I was tripping because that was a big number. Okay. And this is 5, and then this is just 1, and then plus, and then you get, I'm sorry. Let me just rewrite all this again. It's confusing me. And then I get equals, and this is 5, and then 1 plus, and this is -10 plus 3, equaling 5 minus 10 plus 3, equaling 2. 5 minus 10 is negative, and that's -2. 5 minus 10 is -5. -5 plus 3 equals -2, giving us the ordered pair of -1, -2, further confirming, right? This is the vertex, and this is the axis of symmetry at x is equal to -1. Okay, perfect. Those were the questions for this lesson. And folks, the lesson is complete. Now you know how to attack the parabola problems, the parabola questions. Let's go ahead and recap off the top of our head, right? A, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. That is standard form. In order for you to determine how the parabola acts, right? If it's negative or positive, you must look at A, right? A positive A gives us a positive parabola, a upwards facing parabola. A negative A gives us a downwards facing parabola, okay? Next, we would look at the Y-intercept when we set x to 0, giving us y is equal to c. And then you get the ordered pair 0, c. That gives us the Y-intercept. Next, you would verify the vertex. X is equal to -b over 2a. You get those from the standard form of your equation. And then after plugging in all those, plugging in the values of b and a, then you would get x, and then you would get that x and plug it back into the equation, giving you y, giving you the ordered pair where the vertex is. Then you could further confirm your graph when choosing the correct graph. Okay? Perfect. Guys, again, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and watch my gaming stuff. Bye!